This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. So giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. All right, it's Brother Tazapai. And for this lesson, we're going to look into these tariffs, all right? And that's why I brought out Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7, all right, in light of the tariffs. And just in short, so you can understand, you might not sit through the whole video. I suggest you do. But these tariffs, and it's always been throughout history, you go back and you look at the American history with tariffs, you see that tariffs are coffin nails, all right? That's what they are, coffin nails, either for your political career, all right? Or in the case of America, all right, aka Babylon, this is why we're here, Jeremiah 51 and 7. All right, America is prophetically, scripturally, biblically. All right, did I say spiritually? It's spiritually Babylon. All right, we're talking about America, the U.S. of A. All right, that's Babylon. Okay, and for Babylon, these tariffs spell death. All right. So these are the coffin nails. All right. And let's read that again. Jeremiah 51 and 7. It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Right. The Most High chose Babylon, all right, America, to be the place of our final and last. Or when I say our, okay, I'm referring to the children of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and you Native Americans predominantly. Y'all truly are the Hebrew Israelites. This has been kept back from you for a reason, all right, and a purpose. And with us waking up to the knowledge of who we are, coming out and publishing it, all right, you're going to see soon a famine of the word, all right, because anything that empowers us as Israelites, uplifts us, anything that merely inspires us, they want to destroy it, get rid of it, get it out the way. All right. They need you to be powerless. All right. I'm speaking to the men. You women, y'all don't matter. All right. Y'all don't matter because you drunk the Kool-Aid, not because of who you are, not because, oh, you're a woman, you don't matter. No, because you've chosen the side of the enemy. All right, and those of you who say, "Oh, I don't like the white man," well, you like his system. All right. I have yet to see a woman that just, gung ho about this truth. Yeah, they'll, get into it, but they still going to want the comforts of Babylon. All right. Esau knows this. All right. He has y'all right where he wants y'all, and that's my point. He's not worrying about those under his power. He's worried about us, the bucks that left the plantation. All right, and that's who he's worried about. This is his concern. All right, because it's men who go again. Look at history. All right, when kingdoms were taken down and new kingdoms rose up, it was always done by men. Always. And that's not going to change with the fall of Babylon. All right. And with that being said, let's, take this time to acknowledge this year 2025, the year of Esau's downfall. All right. Along with America or Babylon. All right. And this is the year of our uprising. All right. The Israelites. All right. So how did it go? The year of Esau's downfall and our deliverance. All right, something to that effect. All right. But this is that year. All right. We see Esau falling. All right. And we also see, well, we see brothers waking up. The deliverance is coming. So if you don't see it this year, let me say that the right way. All right. Because that could cause problems. But this is the hopeful year. All right. Of Esau's downfall and Israel's deliverance. All right. This is our hopes. Okay. So, and that's good. And that's good. And the reason it's good because it gives you hope. All right. It also, in a sense, gives you a goal. All right. Because when you say this is the year of Esau's downfall and our deliverance, well, you can't just sit around and wait to be delivered. You have to work toward that. So, in a diligent mindset, hope, as this is properly placed, is inspiration. It's an inspiration. So, and you say, oh, well, y'all false prophet. No, we're not prophesying that Esau is going to go down this year or that we'll be delivered. This is our hopes. All right. And again, hope well placed is a motivator. And if nothing else, if we don't see Esau go down this year and Yahushua crack them clouds, all right, we had that slogan, for lack of a better term, all right, to propel us through the year. All right? Because if you're talking about deliverance, you're not going to do it sitting around. All right? So we have to live up to these monikers, if you will. We have to live up to them. So that should give you motivation. All right? Now, getting back to the scripture, it says, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. And now the earth is drunken how? Financially, all right? Debt is worldwide thanks to the petrodollar, all right? The United States world reserve currency that all commodities must be traded in per the Bretton Woods Agreement, all right, which was broken by the U.S. in 71 with the petrodollar, all right? America reneged on the Bretton Woods Agreement. All right, and you had countries like, well, at least I know France sent ships over here to get their gold, because these countries, it just wasn't no, y'all gonna be the world reserve currency. No, countries brought gold to America to back the U.S. Federal Reserve note. All right, and that's what gave it the power for shit. What was that? Man, that 20 years, 30 years? No. Okay. 1944, Bretton Woods Agreement, 1944 to 1971. All right, it is 27 years. 26 years. Yes. So the gold back U.S. Reserve note barely made it a quarter of a century. Just over a quarter of a century. All right? And it was dead, done by the petrodollar. When Tricky Dick, Nixon made a deal with the Saudis. All right, just totally ignoring the Bretton Woods Conference. All right, now I'm bringing that up And some of you may know, and some of you may not know, and that's fine. But Bretton Woods, well, if we'd have stayed in Bretton Woods, or with that agreement, if we'd have honored, not we, if they would have honored that, you wouldn't see all this runaway inflation and upwards of $36 trillion in debt. There's no way you would have saw that with a gold-backed dollar, all right? But taking the dollar off the gold standard and saying, okay, now it's going to be backed by oil, all right? That creates gray area, okay? And you couple that with the nonstop printing presses of the U.S. Federal Reserve note, and then you get runaway inflation, all right? And so this is where we are. This is from 71 to now. This is 50 plus years of compounded inflation, all right? You heard the term compound interest. Well, this has been 53 years. 54 now. Or going on 54 years of compound interest. Not interest, debt. To the tune of 36 trillion today. You know, and that really didn't even start skyrocketing. I remember clearly when Obama left office. Obama came into his administration, and you can look this up. The national debt was around 8 trillion. Obama left, it went up somewhere around 20 trillion, all right? And from there, we grew, after Obama, between Trump, Biden, and now Trump again, it shot up another 16 trillion. So Obama ran it up at 12, all right? And now the past 2-3 administrations have ran it up another 16. All right? This is astronomical. And it's no way that this can be settled. There's no way to make this right, 36 trillion. I don't even know how you spend that money. How do you get there? You know, outside of fraud, theft, all the unrighteous dealings and deceit. That's why the Lord is going to do away with this kingdom. All right? But, you know, I want to give that little backdrop before I go into this, because I got this video that you see at the bottom right of your screen. All right? That's Trump. And he's going to go on about how, you know, these nations taking advantage of us. And if you caught the Thursday live last week, we played a clip of I think Robert Wolf, you know, Mr. Wolf, the financial advisor, or you know, aficionado, whatever he would call himself. You know, he does pretty good analysis, and he brought up the fact. He's the only one I heard say it, and which is spot on, that, you know, Trump need to quit saying what these countries did to the U.S. All right? So I know perfectly well also that America is in this situation because of American policy. All right? American financial misdealings. All right? With the Fed. All of that, going back to Greenspan, and all of the shit, bro. This has been a lot of shit. All right? Financial policy, horrible financial policy and horrible, horrible, they call foreign policy. All right, with these wars and all of that. Now that's where a big portion of this debt is being accumulated from. All right, war. But these are all reasons why the nations are mad. They're in debt. America has forced war on them. The world is at war. You need somebody to say, oh, this is World War III now. You need somebody to announce it. Huh? The world is at war. What would you call it? Now, if it ain't a hot war, such as like what Ukraine is going through with Russia, or them, Palestinians is dealing with them other small hats, or with, Israel. If it ain't a hot war, now you see these financial wars are heating up. And that's what's going to make everybody, all right, jump up in here. That's what, you mess with the people's money, all right, then you see people get upset. And this is what we have been for some time now, all right? If you remember, it was Grexit first. Greece wanted to exit the EU. Then you had Britain and others wanted to exit the EU. What? That was behind money, all right? Based off of the prophecy written in Daniel, the 2nd chapter, all right? And we're going to get some of these scriptures, all right? So let's just go and get down to it, all right? Because I want to set this video up, okay? And so I think we're pretty good. We can get into it a little bit.
By tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that...
So they're putting these tariffs, all right? And the tariffs went into effect. And then, not even a day later, Trump reneged them, say, oh, well, we'll give you 90 days, which is exactly what I called. I said, we may see the tariffs. And I said, but I could see Trump pushing it back another 90 days. I said I could see that. Or, 60 days or however. I could see him pushing it back. And that's exactly what he did. All right. And so when we went into that in the Thursday Live. But yeah, he said the tariffs. Now, just going back to the scriptures, there hadn't been any tariffs. Why tariffs now? Why is this a big issue now? All right, because Babylon hath been the key word. Not is, but hath been, which is similar to has been. That's what it's saying. Babylon has been, or hath been, a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Well, why it ain't anymore? All right. Remember, James 5:1 said, look at James 5:1. We'll start at 1. This is James chapter 5, verse 1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. See? And they beginning to feel that crunch. Now, when you look at these politicians, they looking more childish by the day. All right. The people we once thought had all the answers, that just had everything figured out, Trump looking like a big ass kid. All these other politicians, especially when you see like, oh, we're going to do this. And then not even a day later, we'll pause it for 90 days. Come on, man. That ain't what men do. That's indecisive. And you've been doing that since you've been reelected. That's not manlike. That's childish. He's been pushing these tariffs back since goddamn February. Really? No, since January. All right, and then this is another 90 days, which would put it back to, see, in July. All right, July is their around the 4th is the summer solstice. All right, they're in the we're in the spring equinox now, and if you push it 90 days into the future, it'll be the summer solstice. All right. Now, I don't know where all this is going, but as I stated at the beginning of this video, these tariffs, when you look at history, especially to the tune of the percentages that Trump are talking about, these are coffin nails. All right. But getting back, it says James 5:1, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted. Right, because you stole them and you lied to get them. You used trickery, thievery, deception. All right. That's what you've done. You keep back people's earnings, their earnings, by fraud. You're a shyster, a niggard. And I'm talking to you goddamn white people, every last one of you. You're niggards, shysty, lowlives, horrible, despicable. I won't even call you human beings. Y'all are something other. Fucking demons. Yeah, that's y'all. You white people. And this is talking to you. All right? All this shit y'all sit up on your high horses and your ivory towers looking down on us. You got your proverbs and your bywords. You talk your shit about us. And, well, y'all time is up. All right? What you gonna do when we come to power? Because all of your glory came from us. We are your glory. And then I say we, I mean the Israelites as a whole. Who did they get rich off of? Who made them rich? The labor of the free labor of the Hebrew Israelite, which carries on even to this very day. You're getting paid with Federal Reserve notes. You working for free. That's why generational wealth is a goddamn joke. If you ain't dealing in silver or gold or land or livestock. Anything else, maybe I might be forgetting some type of commodities, whatever. But if you working to get a goddamn direct deposit, and now you don't even see money no more. You just use your card for everything, you don't even see money no more. You working for free. Your ass. We really, okay. I say you working for free. All right. Now you can argue that and make your case, and that's fine. But I doubt you would argue with me saying we working to pay bills. We working to pay rent, pay mortgages, pay taxes. And again, also, that's why generational wealth is hilarious. Especially coming from an Israelite's mouth. You don't even know how to you think, oh, I'm gonna just get money, and no. I'm gonna get money and hand it down to and I'm gonna, that's gonna be okay with the enemy. They ain't gonna have no problem with me amassing money, keeping it in the family. They gonna be perfectly fine with that. But, in the real world, those of us who know, we know. All right, the system is set up against us. System, it's a system. System means pit. All right, and it's a deep system which was designed for you never to climb out of. And anytime you show any resilience, okay, to start climbing up out of the pit, once they see you climbing, they might say, they might not take you serious. They say, let me see what this nigga gonna do. All right, then you get up high enough, they got checks and balances up there when you start to get to the edge of coming out of the pit. You don't come out of the pit. All right? And if you don't believe me, believe the scripture. Because you don't have to believe. You ain't supposed to believe me. Believe the scripture. Go to Deuteronomy. I'm not going to do it in this lesson. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And where it says, no man shall buy you. All right? And that's to say, no man is going to redeem you from being sold captive into your enemy. We were sold into our enemies for bondmen and for bondwomen. All right? And for us to come out of that, we have to be bought back, brought back, redeemed. Okay? These other nations can't be bought back because they was never a part of the fold. So looking back here, James 5 and 2, it says, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. All right? Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. You see? They heaped the treasure together. This is what the Lord is saying. You ain't did it for you. You're sitting up there proud. I got 500 trillion. I'm worth half the world. Yeah, well, that ain't yours. You didn't heap that treasure together for you. You heap that treasure together for the last days. Well, what's going to happen in the last days? Read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 from the top on down. All right? It speaks about the day of the Lord. All right? And what the Lord is coming to do. After our enemy, Esau, is exposed, which we have fallen away, it speaks about that day shall not come in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, that day shall not come, all right, except there come a falling away first, all right, meaning the whole nation of Israel had to fall away from everything we once knew and loved, and that happened, all right. We fell away from our land. We fell away from our heritage. We fell away from our language and culture. We fell away from everything that made us Hebrew Israelites. So much so that a whole nother opposite people could come and tell us that they was us. And we believe them motherfuckers. Now, if that ain't falling away, I don't know what is. What is falling away? When somebody can come and tell you, look, nigga, I'm you. And you believe it? You done fell away. And that's what happened to us. We fell away. Most High raised up the white man in the process of time. It wasn't overnight. All right. We didn't fall overnight. All right. And the white man didn't come up. Hey, look, we were talking about just a while ago, right? 2025, the hopeful year of Esau's downfall and our deliverance. Well, at that time, that falling away was the time of our downfall, in a sense, all right? Esau's deliverance. All right. He got delivered from really nothing but, I was going to say being a low life, but he's still a low life. He's just a low life with money. So he got delivered from poverty. Let's say that. All right. Poverty and ignorance. He did get educated. Can't take that from him. This motherfucker knows some shit. Can't take that from him. The scripture tells you that they are wiser than Daniel, and that they would be wiser than the children of light, the Israelites. All right. So I give them their props. That man knows some shit. All right. But he uses it. He takes his knowledge and uses it for evil. All right. And that's what the devil would do. He's the devil. All right. And so it's saying, James 5:3, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. All right. And shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. So when it's saying this gold and silver is cankered, it means it's corrupted. A canker, that means, you got a piece of metal and it rust or whatever. It's undergoing corrosion. All right. And if let go on long enough, it'll totally eat away at that metal. It's in the process of corruption. All right. And if nothing is done about it, it'll totally be destroyed. All right. Well, that's Esau. He is not only a corruptor, he is the corruptor, and at the same time, he himself is corrupted. That's how he's the corruptor, the corrupter. But and where was I gonna go? I was gonna say the son of perdition. All right. So just like when we say the son of perdition, right? Because was two reasons. Because he's the son of destruction. He's the destroyer. But he's also set to be destroyed. All right, completely. He will be genocided. No other nation on earth has been genocided. All right, the Edomites will be. All right, he is the son of perdition. All right, so in that sense, also he's a corrupter. All right, so he corrupts. Well, yeah, I mean, shit, he corrupts. Now that I wanted to go there to show you, it say Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, through the idea, because in that cup, all right, because it says Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand and made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, all right. Therefore, the nations are mad. Now, that wine is the doctrines, ideologies, the philosophies of this man that he rules by, that he oppresses by, all right, that he governs by, right? And they're all wicked. So that's why I said it had been a golden cup. It's not golden anymore, all right? It's cankered, it's corrupted because of the very reason of the wine that's in it, which is the doctrines and philosophy, his ways, his wicked ways. All right? That's why his gold and silver is cankered. That's why Babylon is not the golden cup it once was. That's why his glory is fading. When you read Habakkuk, 1:15, I'm going to say 1:15. Oh, it's 2. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. Habakkuk 2, and I want to say 15. Well, let's go right with it. Yeah, let's read this. Let's go right with it. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15, it says, "Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink." Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. All right. They gave all of their neighbors drinks. How? By way of those kings of the earth that lived deliciously with her. All right. Babylon made them a proposition, an offer that they couldn't refuse. They said, look here, man, I'm going to set you up. I'm going to make you a king. They fancy themselves as kingmakers. I'm going to hook you up. You're going to have it laid. But look here, you got to get your people to, first of all, they got to do this, that, or the other. It might be, let us, get the mineral rights to your land, get the oil rights. It might be push this LGBTQ. It'd be whatever. But that's, this is the gist of America's foreign policy. It's Debo policy. It's what they call in the mob, what's that word? Extortion. America goes around the world extorting, these nations. And if the leaders don't go along with it, they just dispose of them. Put their own leaders in place. Well, the people been seeing it, all right? Here in America, people have been turning a blind eye, not paying attention, willfully ignorant. But the people of these lands and these countries, they see it. This is why it's saying the nations are mad. They've drunken of this wine. They don't want it no more. But here Habakkuk is saying, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink. All right, that putteth thy bottle to him and makest him drunken also. Didn't it say that the nations have drunken of her wine and the nations are mad? These Edomites have made the whole world drunken and mad. All right. It says that thou mayest look on their nakedness. So he's doing this, just like I said about us, He pushes certain things on us to, put us in these let's put it this way. All right. Esau loves to show us as Israelites in the worst light possible. Okay? And so, let me give you an example of this in verse 15. All right? Yeah, shit. What is it? Roe versus Wade. All right? It was in 1973. Roe versus Wade was overturned, if I remember correctly, granting women the power, or granting women the liberty to commit murder. All right? Then they turn around and put all the stats out. Say, oh shit, black women killing their babies at alarming rates. Which the white woman is too, but they just not, they don't have nowhere near the numbers as the Israelite women. All right. And they blast that all over social media everywhere. The lack, all right, the lack of dignity of our women, of our people, it's put in movies, put in music. They write plays about it, they just put it out there, so put these things out there, all right, in order to keep you in that system I was talking about. And then they showcase you and say to the whole world, look at these niggas. Because the elite know who we are. And they know that they're making mockery of us when they charge you with child support. You a God on earth. Well, we've lost that, but we going back to it. God's paying child support. God's being taxed. Who taxes a God? You see? But enjoy yourself, Esau. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the nigga show. All right? Because the nigga show about to be over. All right? And then you're going to be looking at a bunch of angry, powerful Israelites. All right? And I wouldn't dare want to be in your shoes. Now here in Habakkuk 2:16, it says, thou art filled with shame for glory. See? What was once his glory is now his shame. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Remember the white man was once, he was distinguished. Remember the suit and the tie? You thought this motherfucker was something, like I said earlier. And now I look at him. I don't know if it's me maturing, it's both, In my maturity, and then seeing the Most High bringing this man down, I see a bunch of children. But this is where it's coming from. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also. See, you ain't getting away with nothing. And Revelation 18 goes into that. Fill unto her double unto her, meaning Babylon, double that cup that she forced on everybody. All right? Habakkuk 2:16, thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. All right? This is why Babylon has been a golden cup, but is no longer a golden cup. All right? Because shameful spewing is on their glory. That's when this shameful spewing is earling, like we say earlier, blowing chunks, throwing up, vomiting. Nobody likes vomit. You don't even like your own vomit. And you throw up, you don't want to even see that shit. Then you got to clean the shit up. Unless you're real sick. Get somebody else clean it up. But nobody likes that. And this is where he is now. Nobody likes this man. Shameful spewing is on his glory. So when you see him and the things that you once thought he had going on, like with that second Esdras 10, Sirach 10, it speaks about Sirach 12:10, speaks about and correct me if I'm wrong, brothers watch this all the way through. I think that's Sirach 12:10, speaking about never trust thine enemy. And it speaks about, him being to us something to the effect like a looking glass, that once we look, we'll see that, even though the image he put up was squeaky clean, we can still see the rust of his wickedness, that corrosion I spoke about. We can still see it in him. Now, this is, he don't have the power because the Most High is stripping him. So he's losing the power to keep up that front. But this is the Lord's doing. The Lord said he was going to lift this man's skirt. And so this is what's happening. His skirt is being lifted, meaning He's being exposed. He doesn't have the same power that he has. Even what Psalm 64:8 speaks about, their tongues shall fall upon themselves. You know, they're going to be exposed. I just mentioned 2 Thessalonians 2:3, that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. All right, we spoke on that. And then it says, and that man of sin be revealed. All right. And it was going to be the Most High revealing him. It was the Most High stripping him of his power. All right. When he had power to keep shit secret, he don't have that power no more. And it's the Most High. It's the reason why. All right. And then, on top of all that, the Most High is working through his servants, the prophets, to really blast this man's ass. All right. So, we're
in the White House that allowed this to happen.
And true to his word, Donald Trump slapped a further tariff on China in a bid to level out the playing field.
About tariffs.
Look, I just spoke to the president about this, and he believes that China wants to make a deal with the United States. He believes China has to make a deal with the United States. It was a mistake for China to retaliate. The president, when America is punched, he punches back harder. That's why there will be 104% tariffs going into effect on China tonight at midnight.
See, that's ridiculous. We don't have anything to sustain that. So say Russia, China say, well, that's ridiculous. We're just not going to ship any goods to the U.S. And we're done. We don't produce anything. The strength of the tariff, you got to have some manufacturing. You can't use a tariff as leverage. Okay? You can't do it. You have to have industry, manufacturing. All right? That's where your leverage comes from. China has all of that. So they can say, you know what? To hell with America. They don't need us. So what I'm trying to figure out is, what's the real plan here? What's really going on with this? And, just off the top, I just see this as the final death blow to America. If it goes through, it's going to put a strain on an already stressed out populace, all right, here in America. With this runaway inflation, these tariffs is going to hit you. Now, here's the thing. China don't just make one thing. So, like if they was an auto exporter, they say, well, shit, we just buy American, fuck China, fuck them. Just don't, they make everything. So we can't say to hell with China. China can say to hell with us. But if Trump's tariffs go through and China tariffs go through, I see you Mortmains paying all of them tariffs. You've been paying for everything. You've been funding the Ukraine debacle. Tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars coming out your pockets here in America. You're funding that debacle in Israel and Gaza and Palestine. You're funding that. It's coming out the Americans' pockets. So why not fund these tariffs too? Why not? Go ahead. Y'all enjoy tyranny. You enjoy oppression. Go and pay for them tariffs too. I'm sick of seeing y'all at these goddamn ball games and having fun and shit. Like, I ain't got nothing against fun. This ain't the time for it. Acting like ain't shit going on, like America ain't at war. And you had a goddamn ball game. But look, That's pretty much it.
But the president believes that she and China want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get that started. And the president also wanted me to tell all of you that if China reaches out to make a deal, he'll be incredibly gracious, but he's going to do what's best for the American people.
So China has to call first?
The Chinese want to make a deal. They just don't know how to do it. But the president will be implementing these 104% tariffs on China tonight.
He doubled down at a Republican function just hours ago, saying,
And that, all right, because I see it going through these tariffs. I just don't know when or how much. But then you'll see Psalm 68, Psalm 60 and 8 really play out, okay? Which Psalm 60 and 8 says, Moab is my washpot, all right? The Moabites are the Chinese. This is the biblical name. Moab is the biblical name of the Chinaman. All right. He's the Most High's washpot. And look how the Most High is using Moab to just clean America out. It started with the purchasing of all of the treasury bonds. All right. And now China can legally lay claim to a lot of America because America is insolvent. So it's just like you invest in a company, and the company is not doing good or losing money, well, you losing money too. But because you invested into that company, just like Moab is invested in America, if that business becomes like America, this corporation, if that business becomes, non-profitable, depending how much you have invested, you have, if you're 51% or up or higher invested, then you can go in and just take over. And you can say, well, we're going to implement a new strategy because you hold majority investment. So you can say we're going to implement a new strategy, or you can say let's just shut it down, cut our losses, look for a new venture. One or two. But, right, this is what China has been doing. I'm looking at some shit right now that say made in China, just some random shit. I wasn't even looking for it. I just saw China. It's everywhere. This tariff is nothing good gonna come out of it. Yes, it could do some shit. It could do some positive shit. Yeah, it ain't. Why do you think he pushed it back 90 days? He was trying to bluff, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. But if it was so good and if it works, why you keep putting it off? Because it won't work. It's not going to work, all right? I got to cut it there. It's still a lot to delve into. But we'll catch back up with this, all right? We're going to get into this, man. This is, this is going to bring this woe. A lot of woes been about money. Well, the first two world woes were about money. This one is going to be the same. All right? So let's look out for that. There's going to be more on this, man. So to the next one. Shalom.